that the Pentagon policy illegally restricts the press credentials of reporters who walked out of the building rather than agree to the new rules. The New York Times sued the Pentagon and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in December, claiming the credentialing policy violates the journalist's constitutional rights to free speech and due process. A Pentagon spokesperson says it's pursuing an immediate appeal. Keith Peters, Washington.
A legal setback for Elon Musk in San Francisco.
The plaintiffs, former shareholders, argued that they lost money because Musk made misleading statements to deliberately drive down the stock price in the months leading up to his 2022 purchase of the company. At issue were a podcast and 2 tweets, one questioning the number of bots and fake accounts that made up the platform, and another saying his acquisition was temporarily on hold. The 9-juror panel did absolve Musk of some of the fraud allegations, finding he did not scheme to mislead investors. Attorneys say the payout could reach over $2.5 billion. I'm Jennifer King.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
There's been a big drop in cigarette smoking in this country.
Cigarette smoking reached a historic low of about 9.9% among adults in 2024, down from 10.8% in 2023. This marks the first time smoking rates have fallen to single digits. The decline reflects ongoing effort by public health officials to reduce tobacco use and reach a goal of lowering adult smoking rates to 6.1% by 2030.
And despite the decline in cigarette smoking, Ron Taylor reports approximately 25 million adults still smoke cigarettes. CBS News announced on Friday it would be shutting down its storied radio news service after nearly 100 years of operation as the world moves on to digital sources and podcasts. When it went on the air in September of 1927, the service was the precursor to the entire network. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Ed Donahue reports there's been another boat strike.
A U.S. attack on an alleged drug smuggling boat leaves 2 people dead and 1 survivor in the eastern Pacific. The latest attack brings the number of people who've been killed in boat strikes by the military to at least 159 since the Trump administration began targeting those it called narco-terrorists in early September. The Coast Guard says one of the ships recovered 2 dead bodies and 1 survivor and transferred them to the Costa Rican Coast Guard. The military did not provide evidence that the vessel was ferrying drugs. It posted a video on X that showed a vessel erupting into flames as it cruised through the water. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Wait times at airport security checkpoints have become a guessing game during the TSA shutdown. The roughly 50,000 federal workers who screen passengers and bags have been working without pay for several weeks. More of these stories at townhall.com.
Kick off your weekend with a little flair. It's Dino's Night Out, every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM. Dino brings you the best of the Fox Valley's entertainment scene. Live music, local artists, street festivals, great eats, and the personalities behind them. If it's happening, Dino's talking about it. And bringing the spotlight is none other than the legendary Arcada Theater, located at 105 East Main Street in St. Charles. Catch dinner, drinks, and a show, all under one historic roof. So whether you're making plans or just love to know what's hot, make it a date with Dino's Night Out, Fridays, 2 to 4 p.m. on WRMN 1410 AM, or stream it live at WRMN1410.com. Dino's Night Out, powered by the Arcata Theater, where Fox Valley comes to play.
It's time to wake up.
Yes!
And lock in to On the Rise.
Yes!
With host Mike Napolitano.
Cub fans have every right to be disappointed if this Cubs team continues on the trajectory that they're on and they miss the playoffs or, at best, get a wild card spot. You are cooked at that point.
Mamma mia!
Dalton Cooper.
Like, I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, you know, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, did you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart? But something doesn't smell right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And Nick Johnston.
For the most part, to be fair, I don't want to completely, justify a sweep, but the Royals are red hot right now. Vinny Pasquantino might be Ted Williams reincarnated. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
All right, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is enjoying their lovely Saturday. It's supposed to be a beautiful day today. It's going to be in the 70s. Enjoy it. It's a good day for baseball if we had some here in the Chicagoland area. But we will get there soon enough. I hope everybody's enjoying their morning. Please feel free to join in. We do have a caller here, actually. That's amazing. We will be joined by Wayne Messmer at 11 a.m. this morning. He'll be calling in the beginning of that second hour. If you want to join in on the conversation, we're doing some college basketball to start, obviously. You can join in 847-931-1410. Text the studio line 505-926-1410. And as always, we are on the WRMN 1410 YouTube. Check us out in the chat. Come say hi and everything in between. I hope, again, it's March. We have to start with college basketball. And obviously, we've been treated so far. I don't know how everybody else's bracket is going, but I never go in with high expectations, and this is why. I've done a bracket almost every year for like the last 20 years, I would say, ever since like middle school maybe. And I've won one bracket pool, so it doesn't justify any of my talent. But we've learned as the NIL has changed these teams that, the upsets are brewing, and it's great. And I think the game of the day yesterday to start out with was the Santa Clara, Kentucky game. A wild sequence. It was the first game of the day. So if you didn't catch the first game of the day during work, you missed a real treat so far. Probably the game of the tournament if you take just the last 2.5 seconds into account. But Kentucky does come out on top. If you didn't catch out that live sequence here, listen to it live.
Elevates and buries it. 2.4 away. Oh, my goodness. Can't make it up.
And that was the soundbite courtesy of ESPN.com as well as Turner Sports. So amazing game. Looks like Oway ended up finishing the game with 35 points on 11 of 24. Obviously makes that 3 to send the game into overtime. And a true classic March Madness game. So that was the treat of yesterday. If you didn't catch that out, check that out during the lunch hour, I think is when that game started. That's when that happened. And then it's kind of been chalk ever since. So it's going to be interesting moving forward. We have the second round of games today. I believe the Fighting Illini play today. Get excited. They do. They play VCU, 6:50. You can check that game out on CBS as well. Also coming live on WRMN 1410's airwaves, we will have the Sweet 16 and forward moving into the rest of March Madness. So you can check out those games here on 1410 WRMN. So if you, they will list them out differently, obviously by time, but we will have them on these airwaves. So, Mike, did you get a chance to watch any basketball yesterday?
I have not.
No
me just yet, but yeah, I do know the Illini are moving on here, so that's exciting. And yeah, we have had, other than what you mentioned, some chalk. We have had some extreme upsets, though.
Yeah, the VCU game was. I mean, speaking of VCU playing Illinois today, they had a 19-point comeback against the North Carolina Tar Heels, which I've said before, they're shaky. They're not a very good free throw shooting team, and that is the kiss of death when it comes to college basketball.
No doubt, but I mean, you also talk about there was a timeout that was trying to be called.
Oh yes, that was
by their coach?
Santa Clara coach.
Santa Clara's coach, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was overlooked. The last 2 seconds, you get almost a half-court 3-point shot, and then you go to overtime and lose that game. So there's been some spotty officiating, just maybe in a couple of instances, but other than that, I think most things have been pretty much how they're supposed to go.
Speaking of coaching mishaps, did you catch the soundbite from the Villanova head coach last night? They lost, by the way, Villanova.
I did not.
Yeah,
no.
check this out. I got it for you right here.
15 pain points for Utah State. How do you keep them out?
I'm going to fire my staff because we've...
Not now.
Yeah, I am, because we've given up 8 points on underneath out of bounds defense. So the only thing I'm going to do is fire them and get a new staff.
All right, go do that now. Bye, Coach. Kevin, we're losing people by the second.
And that was courtesy of looks like TNT or CBS Sports College Basketball. But he made these comments mid-game. In mid-game, literally as they're playing in this, I think it was the second half, if you will. But they ended up losing by 10. So the irony of that comment is he is not wrong, because obviously those 8 points go away from those underneath basket plays. It's what he was referring to.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have no words for that.
He doubled down on the comments after the game. Did you see the comments after the game?
To double down is even crazier.
Yeah.
You know, Utah State was doing good on the out of bounds. They had a couple scores off that. Where do you think you guys flipped the script on that and kind of was able to get a run off?
I don't think we did. We gave up a big 3 late. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to make some changes to my staff just because of how bad we were.
Mark Ziegler, San Diego Union Tribune, you just mentioned making changes to your staff. You gave a...
it's a joke.
That's what I want to ask you about.
Bless it.
You gave an interview during the game. It went viral. You're being criticized pretty heavily online.
I don't care.
It's a joke?
Welcome to my life. It's a joke.
It's a joke. It's a total joke, and that's courtesy of Awful Announcing, and it looks like TNT Sports.
I'm sorry.
As well.
What?
Yeah. So Kevin Willard is this guy's name.
It's a joke. You doubled down on it.
Yeah. It was very interesting comments. Just as like, and I mentioned NIL in the very beginning of this monologue, if you will. Does like, and you see Nick Cronin. Obviously you're not a college basketball, but you have Nick Cronin in UCLA. He does some very questionable things and says some crazy stuff.
But I don't think anything that.
How do you feel as a player right now? With the I guess this is different because he's not throwing his team under the bus. He's throwing his coaching staff under the bus, which is almost worse in a way.
But if you're a player, you've got to be feeling some of that too, because coaching staff, players, you're all one big family, especially going into a tournament of this size. And for your head coach to come out and in multiple sports, basketball is one of them. Your head coach is your head coach, right? And then it's your assistant coaches or your trainers that are sometimes that bridge between head coach and players, and they kind of become your buddy and fill that gap rather than, head coach is there for business, right? Get the job done. And sometimes they're harsh. And then it trickles down into, hey, but I'm the assistant coach. I'm going to help you out with this. And we're going to build that bond a little bit closer and have more of a friendship than you would with the head coach.
Right.
So if you're a player and you're hearing that your friend might get fired because they want a whole new coaching staff, and then to double down on it, but then call it a joke, and then call your life a joke, and then be that upset.
Insane.
What is good? Somebody check on this man. We need a wellness check. What is going on?
So that'll be something to look forward to moving forward. And I think this is his first year on the job.
That's might be his last year on the job. Yeah, he talks about some changes. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's gone.
Well, he came. If you remember, actually, too, he came from Maryland, which. I did not realize that. Last year, the whole drama with them was like he was like already negotiating a new contract with Villanova while Maryland was still playing in the Sweet 16 last year. Wow. So yeah, he's definitely been a shady character. I totally forgot that was him. But yeah, that's where he came from. So this is not his first road. He coached at Seton Hall from 2010 to 2022. So he's been around the block, to say the least. This man is very experienced. He's got 15 years of NCAA coaching under his belt.
Listen, and you can't be that mad. I mean, yes, you lost by 10 points to the 9 seed and you were the 8 seed, right? And so technically that is an upset. But I mean, Utah State Aggies, they're 29-6 versus the Villanova Wildcats, who were 24-9. So, I mean, yes, you were the higher seed just because of the way that the college basketball rankings go, but Utah had a better record than you, and I mean, you could argue toughness of conferences as to why Villanova was a higher seed, but I don't think that this was like the biggest upset, biggest flop, biggest dropped
No.
ball in the world. Like, why are you?
He's almost making it worse by saying
Yeah,
this,
why are you
honestly.
coming after your staff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's Colin going to say? That's his son, by the way. How do you think Colin feels about his dad saying these things?
You know,
Okay,
I mean,
never mind.
I think. Listen, if you
It just said it on Google. It's the
gotta
reason
be,
why.
It's got to be. You got to be separate from
Yeah.
that, right? Like you,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't just what your dad does and what you do in the game
Mike,
of
I was
basketball.
totally being facetious.
Is his son playing?
No.
Oh.
No, I think his son is like a toddler. Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah, 19 years old. So yeah. Well, he's probably not playing. I don't know if he plays.
I figured he was on another team in this tournament. I was like,
no.
although then again, he'd
I don't
probably
even know if
be
he plays
on
basketball.
Villanova, right? Like,
Probably.
when you
You
play
would
where your
assume.
dad's coaching?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like the Bulls and Windy City Bulls. You have, dad and son coaching staff between the NBA and G League.
Yeah.
With Billy Donovan and Billy Donovan III.
Did you fill out a bracket?
I did not. I'm not a bracket guy.
Gotcha.
Only because like I know what you were saying about how you've been wrong about your brackets and stuff like that. So there's no.
I never go in with an
there's-
expectation.
Yeah, there's really no method, right? Like there's gonna be the upsets. You're not gonna have a perfect bracket, but even then, I'll be honest. I don't follow college basketball closely enough going into this. Now every year when March
you don't need
comes
to.
around,
That's the beauty of it.
right? Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying is like I can just pick based on what do some people do? They pick based on mascots. They pick based on like
If they know somebody that attends that school,
yeah,
or like
yeah,
is an alma mater of that school.
I really like those colors, or
Yeah.
no, I'm not even gonna do that. Like I pay attention to the actual tournament once it's here, but going in preconceived knowledge, I feel like I should have some to make a bracket, but
The
then
kiss of
like you
death,
said,
that
yeah,
preconceived knowledge.
you'll overthink it. So I did actually I made a bracket last year, but it was from the Sweet 16 on, which
Okay.
is kind of maybe
That's
what
when
I'll
the
do.
real tournament begins.
Yeah, maybe what I'll do here, especially because here at AM 1410 WRMN will be carrying those games from the Sweet 16 on.
Oh, are we making this into a? Oh, we should get Nick involved.
We should.
Yeah, we should get like a little three.
I like that.
Yeah, like maybe
All
a
right.
punishment or
That'll
something.
be our homework.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring our brackets to you from here on AM
Sweet
1410's
16.
on the rise. But yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, and I was also letting everybody know we do have Wayne Messmer at 11 a.m.
We do.
coming up, so that'll be a good little chat. Everything Wolves related. I was actually reading about some of his business ventures. Good businessman. And he looks great for 75. I had no idea he was 75.
75.
Yeah.
I did know that, but I mean that's
He looks great. Like when you see him in person, he gets up and down the stairs well and everything. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So we'll have that. Anything else you wanted to chat in? We got like 12 minutes here, give or take.
You know who looks great for 250 is America.
Okay. That's
75 is good, but
that's where you're
America
going.
being 250 years old, great. The only thing that I would say doesn't look so great in your 250th birthday is the men's baseball team. What are we doing, guys? We're walking in with the actual. Did you know that the U.S. men's hockey team shipped
Yeah,
their
oh my
jerseys,
God.
shipped their sweaters to the U.S. baseball team for them to wear into the stadium?
No
on
way they
game
sent the
day?
real jerseys,
That's the
right?
real. It's the
No
game worn
way.
jerseys. It's the game worn jerseys. The game worn jerseys from the Olympics.
That makes it even worse.
And you go 3 for 30 at the plate in the championship after wearing those jerseys. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Cancel this. Well, the WBC, that was the championship game. So of course it's over. But cancel all of those guys' individual seasons from here on out.
Did you ever think that maybe those jerseys are the problem because they did score 2 runs and those jerseys scored 2 goals? It just it happened to be enough. They just gave up too much.
Yeah, and there was a hero, Bryce Harper.
Yeah. So maybe this isn't. I think this is more on the USA baseball team than it is the hockey team. You know what I mean?
Maybe somebody shouldn't have worn the jerseys,
Yeah.
is what you're saying, so that they could be that extra hero to get the 3rd run, just to at least tie the game. Maybe
Well, I
a
was just
4th
thinking
run.
maybe the pitcher should have. I don't know. That's a lot. And think of the size of the rosters. Like, who do you pick and choose to wear one at that point? Anyway, but yeah, no, it was really bad. I mean, they were like it felt like the Italy game through like the first 6 innings. I don't know how you felt about that. Obviously, the score wasn't as I guess big of a gap, but the way the game was going felt that way. I was like, this is like literally Italy all over again.
It did. The only thing that was different was Italy did have a lead, and let's track back to that. So last Saturday was the quarterfinals, Puerto Rico and Italy. I said all those things about Tilo, and I almost had to eat my words, but Italy holds on for the win 8-6. Later on that evening, Venezuela takes out Japan 8-5, and everybody's thinking, whoa, here's the upset of upsets. Move over, college basketball, because Japan was expected to go back-to-back and win this tournament once again, especially Shohei Ohtani. Chicago White Sox fans will be excited. Munetaka Murakami. But nope, it's Venezuela. So Sunday, it was USA versus the Dominican Republic. USA takes down DR 2-1. Dominican had defeated Korea 10-0, and the USA had knocked off Canada 5-3 in the quarterfinals. That's how we got here. But it was Junior Caminero who homers for the third time in this series, or in this tournament, on a fly ball to center field. But right back comes the USA with an answer. Gunnar Henderson homers on a fly ball to right center, and then it's Roman Anthony, the young star who hasn't even played a full season yet for the Boston Red Sox. He gets the job done with a solo homer, and that's all that was needed in this game. 3 solo homers in a 2-1 victory for the United States. 1 from the Dominican Republic side of things and 2 from the U.S. Juan Soto, though, after the game, a little bit of Juan McKinnon going on, because he said, quote, we showed the world who's the best team in baseball. That's all I got to say, end quote.
Would you say he's a Juaner?
What?
He's Juaning. I'm trying to say wanting and whining, or excuse me, whining.
Oh, yeah, whining. Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should ask Tilo. Tilo might have a good.
Honestly, well, he's not Dominican, but.
No, he's Puerto Rican.
There's that
I was
Puerto Rican
I was
rivalry.
going to say he's going to have a better idea than we would.
Yeah, so I'll have to ask him what he thought of those Juan Soto comments, because it was very
McKinnon. I like that.
very, very Nathan McKinnon of him to go and do that, but that's fine. Semifinal Monday was Italy versus Venezuela, and that was what Dalton was referring to. Italy had a 2-0 lead following that second inning rally. J.J. D'Orazio walks, and that walks in a run, and then it was Dante Nori who grounded out into a force out that scored another. But Venezuela cut that lead in half in the 4th inning with an Eugenio Suarez home run. And then in the 7th inning, it was rally time for Venezuela. And it wasn't exactly, it was manufacturing small ball, something that you don't see a whole lot in baseball, but it gets the job done. Ronald Acuna Jr. singles on a ground ball shortstop to Sam Antonacci, White Sox future star coming up in the making here. And then it's Michael Garcia who singles on a line drive to center field. And then it's Luis Arraez who singles on a line drive to center field. 3 singles in a row, 3 RBIs. That's how you get the job done. And Venezuela takes a 4-2 lead late in that game, and that's how that one ends. And if you're Italy, that's got to sting.
What do you mean if you're Italy? You are Italy. I was thinking of you while I was watching the walk-in runs.
What I'm going to say now is this sting a little bit. I posted on, it was actually a post about St. Patrick's Day leading into St. Joseph's Day. Congratulations to anybody who celebrates St. Joseph's Day last Thursday. But I posted that I said, buongiorno, buonasera, buonanotte, which means it's an American expression, good morning, good evening, good night, right?
Yeah.
But like I turned it into Italian, and I put the little pinch emoji. And some guy who's actually Italian, who has maybe like 100 followers, was like, he was calling me a stupid idiot. I was like, relax, bro. I thought it was so funny. I reposted it because he's like, no, you don't know when to use this. But you could literally see in how he typed out the text that like his accent was shining through. So it was like, you stop to do this. You don't know when to do this. I was like, all right, yeah, coming after me. It's all right. I'm Italian too, bro. I'm Italian. And yeah, I tell you, it hurt a lot. Yeah. It hurt a lot.
Which set up the USA and Venezuela.
Venezuela stabbed me in the heart twice within the same. Yeah. It's technically within the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 48 hours if you look at the actual days, because they take out my Italians and then they take out Team USA. The USA, as I said, 3 for 30 at the plate against Venezuela in front of a 36,190 person crowd in Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. The biggest question I had, and I understand, I got it answered by our very own Derek Geyer. He said it's because of the lefty-lefty matchup, and I can see that. But not starting Pete Crow Armstrong of the Chicago Cubs, who has been your hottest player in this tournament, batting .300, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, had that clutch 3-run shot against Italy that, you know, it didn't help Italy, or it didn't help the USA beat Italy and win the game, but it did
The run difference. It
tighten
got
the
them
gap.
into the tournament. Yeah.
And yeah, it kept them alive. You don't start Pete Crow Armstrong against Venezuela. Instead, you decide to start Byron Buxton, who had a 0 batting average, no home runs, and 1 RBI. Now, you might be sitting at home going, how does he have 1 RBI if he has a 0 batting average? He got hit by a pitch against Brazil in a 15-5 win. Unnecessary.
He took one for the team, Mike.
He did take one for the team, and I'll give him that. And I don't dislike Byron Buxton as a player. I think he's a great player, and he plays for the Minnesota Twins. So as a White Sox fan, we get to see him a lot throughout the season. And every time, typically these days, I'm coming away with a bitter taste in my mouth. But this time, I've got a different type of bitter taste in my mouth, and it's because he's not hot right now. Why don't you just start the hot bat in the lineup? I don't care if it's a lefty-lefty matchup and it favors the pitcher. This is the championship. You're going to sacrifice at-bats from PCA? Now, yes, it really only was 2 at-bats. 1 walk, I believe. No, actually, no. Buxton didn't walk.
Do you want devil's advocate, though? If you look at Kyle Schwarber, who is also left-handed, he struck out 3 times, I think. I'm pretty sure he went 0 for 4, but I'm almost certain he had 3 strikeouts.
Yes, you're not wrong.
So the lefty-lefty on thing does make a little bit of sense, but I do understand a little bit of your argument of PCA being hot. And he showed it last year, too. He was hot early in the first half of the season last year. He was an MVP candidate. The second half kind of cooled off. So maybe he's one of those guys that does heat up a little bit quicker than most, or he's good at keeping his timing, whatever it is.
Schwarber had 4 at-bats, 3 strikeouts, and a walk.
Okay.
That came in the 4th inning with 2 outs. This is another issue I had. Everything for the American side of things came with 2 outs. Bryce Harper, his base hit in the bottom of the 6th came with 2 outs. His 2-run shot in the 8th that tied the game up at 2, that came with 2 outs. It must have been a good day if your name was Bryce, because Bryce Terang was the only other man who had a hit in this game for the U.S. side of things. He had a base hit in the bottom of the 3rd. That did come with 1 out, but then Roman Anthony, a walk in the 7th with 2 outs. Bobby Witt Jr., he was the leadoff man for this USA team, but his walk came in the 8th right before the Bryce Harper 2-run shot. That was, of course, still with 2 outs on the board, and then that Kyle Schwarber walk in the 4th with 2 outs. Now, listen, there's that expression in baseball, all after 2, right? And you get the rally going after 2 outs. That wasn't happening. You needed to start earlier against the pitching, and listen, at a certain point, you just have to tip your cap to the Venezuelan pitching, and I'm ranting about the United States because in my heart, I'm upset, but when you look at this from an actual analytical standpoint, Venezuela was just the much better team in this one. Venezuela took a 1-0 lead in the 3rd with a Michael Garcia sacrifice fly to center. That was to Byron Buxton. They extended that lead with a Wilyer Abreu home run. That was a fly ball to center in the 5th. Bryce Harper gets that 2-run shot to even things up in the 8th. But then Luis Arraez walks and then is replaced by pinch runner Javier Sonoja, who proceeds to steal 2nd. That steal was the difference in the game. There was a review. Yeah. You got to review that, but he was in underneath the tag, and Venezuela knocks him in with an Eugenio Suarez double.
He's playing for the Reds this year, too, boy. You better get ready.
Yeah.
You better get ready.
You're excited for that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, nothing PCA could do about that one.
You didn't even mention Palencia, though. He literally won the tournament.
He did, and that is a big name for Cub fans. We've got more baseball for you, so we might as well bring it to you just here after the break. I've got more WBC stats leading into the Baseball Champions League. We've also got a little bit of White Sox and Cubs spring training. We've got soccer, and oh yeah, at 11 a.m. we have the Wayne Messmer joining us right here on AM 1410's On the Rise. Dalton Cooper and myself, Mike Napolitano. Stick around. We've got hockey too, of course. Yeah. Of course.
1410 on the Rise.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
Since 1960, Fox Valley Fire and Safety has been dedicated to caring for our customers and protecting our community. What began in a family basement with just 2 employees has grown into a team of more than 300, supported by nearly 200 service vehicles. But our mission has never changed. We're here to keep the people and businesses we serve safe. Our service technicians are available 24/7, 365 days a year across Northern Illinois because your safety can't wait. To learn more, visit foxvalleyfire.com or call 847-695-5990. A proud member of the Elgin Area Chamber of Commerce, supporting the local business community.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome to WRMN, your trusted voice in the Fox River Valley for over 75 years. We bring you fact-based news, good faith discussions, and entertainment that brings people together. From national headlines to local stories, WRMN is your home for thoughtful dialogue and community engagement. No matter the time of day, where you're listening from, or who you are always welcome here. Thanks for making us a part of your day. This is the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
When your car needs trusted care, think All Around Auto Body in Schaumburg. Family owned for over 30 years, they deliver high-quality collision repair and dependable service from start to finish. Call 847-352-3825. They're located at 501 Morse Avenue in Unit D. Get your vehicle back in shape with the experts who care. All Around Auto Body, where your car is treated like family. Call 847-352-3825 today. Proud sponsors of America's First Responders Fest.
United States down to its last strike. Venezuela, the best in baseball. For a team that was carrying a country, a World Baseball Classic title. They played with so much emotion, and you can see it pouring out right now.
Welcome back, AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise. Dalton Cooper on the board, myself, Mike Napolitano, and that audio you just heard was the final out of the World Baseball Classic here in 2026, where Cubs closer Daniel Palencia closed out the entire United States. So, what was that?
I was going to say that audio was courtesy of Fox.
Yes, thank you for the
just to make sure.
Yeah.
We like to check our boxes, you know?
He would strike out former Cub Kyle Schwarber. He gets Gunnar Henderson, who came in for Cubs' newly acquired Alex Bregman. And then Gunnar Henderson flew out to third and then strikes out Red Sox Roman Anthony. Venezuela are your 2026 World Baseball champions. And I know that's not what a lot of Americans want to hear. But, I mean, hey, this means a lot for a country like Venezuela. to be big on the baseball scene like that.
I think it means even something bigger for baseball in general. They had over 10 million viewers for this game, 10.784 million viewers. The most watched WBC telecast ever on any network. Peak viewership was a little over 12 million from 10:30 to 10:45 Eastern or 9:30 to 9:45 Central. From this final up from the 2023 final was up 128%.
Wow.
In viewership. So there was obviously 10 million and change for this one. There was 4.4 million for 2023. So, and then the most watched Tuesday on Fox since Game 4 of the 2025 World Series.
Game 4 of the 2025 World Series would have been
that'd have been Jays and
but Game 4
Dodgers.
was that? Oh, did the Jays win that one? I'd have to go back and see. I mean, I would have guessed it would have been Game 7, but you're saying
on a Tuesday
on a
night,
Tuesday, yeah.
Going up, Mike, on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, yeah, it's actually our fault because
I was going to reference something there about Tuesdays.
Yeah,
but
I bet. The Italy game happened. I have bowling on Tuesday nights, right? And the lady that helps run the league or whatever, she's a big baseball fan, big Cubs fan. And then she's like, well, she puts baseball on. Well, they start getting hammered by Italy, right?
Was this the USA versus Italy game?
That happened on a Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
So then I go in the league on Tuesday, and she's like, well, I got to put baseball on. I was like, do you realize the only game that we've watched on a Tuesday in here, they got hammered by Italy? And she's like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we shouldn't put it on. She puts it on anyway, and then, of course, it's like 2-0. And as I go to leave at like the 6th inning, I'm like, hey, it might be our fault. I'm just saying. So
it's bowling alley lady's fault.
Yeah.
She single-handedly ended Team USA's run like that. Wow.
Yeah.
There are only 2 losses
Shout out to
in the
Waveland.
tournament. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She not patriotic in my book.
I'm just saying.
Not patriotic.
Sometimes I'm superstitious,
Just a little stitious.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, this was huge for Venezuela. Of course, it had to come at the expense of the United States of America, who were once again chasing as they were knocked out in the championship in 2023 against Japan. 2020, if you remember, there was no World Baseball Classic due to COVID. Otherwise, that would have been a WBC year as well. The United States did win a World Baseball Classic. That was in 2017. That was over Tilo's Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico was also the bridesmaid in 2013, the previous year that they had the WBC. So it used to be every 4 years the first WBC was 2006. That was Japan winning over Cuba. And then it was 2009, Japan going back-to-back. This time they would win over South Korea. So that was a 3-year jump. Then you had a 4-year jump, 2009 to 2013, with the Dominican Republic beating Puerto Rico. And that one stings, I think, for Tilo even more because there's that PR-DR rivalry right there. And then another 4-year jump to 2017 when I said the United States won. And then they've gone back to this 3-year gap. So it looks like we're going to have another WBC in 2029. But you mentioned that 10 million figure. That was also the figure that we got from Josh Schaub as far as how many viewers throughout the entire season for the American Association. So if you can kind of compartmentalize that in your brain, 10 million just in one game for the World Baseball Classic, 10 million over an entire season for the American Association. That's not to dog the American Association. Those are great numbers for the American Association. And if they could get somewhere in the middle of what they got throughout the entire season for the upcoming Baseball Champions League, that should be huge for them because that is the next big tournament. Someday, you heard him say it in the quote, and if you follow us on social media, Dalton clipped that one. Someday, the Baseball Champions League will probably be just as big as the World Baseball Classic. I'd bet money on it just because it's such a unique concept and it's different from the WBC that people are going to want that change or want that fresh new look. You're going to have the Kane County Cougars representing the United States and Canada going into this tournament. So it's not like they're wearing USA across their chest. It's not like they're wearing a maple leaf across their chest or some combination of the two. The American Association has the representative for both countries, but it's going to be in Cougars uniforms. So can you think about that? I mean, that's huge for a team that has they're a storied franchise. The Kane County Cougars date back over 100 years. But to have their jerseys represented on the international stage in a tournament like this, it's really never happened before, except for, last year when the Cougars also won the Miles Wolf Cup Championship. So they get to reclaim that title and go and represent in the BCL once again. So this is going to be huge. I'm excited for this one.
And they got new jerseys this year. Did you see that? The
I did.
Cougars, yeah, the Champ Pro jerseys. Those are
Yeah.
nice. They put out a little social media. What I don't want to say tribute to the new jerseys, but like a behind the scenes, if you will.
No, true. Yeah,
So you
I
can
mean
check
they're
that out.
similar
Yeah, it's
style,
cool.
but yeah, it's a new branding deal with Champ Pro. And then on top of that, did you see what they announced yesterday? Is there will be a throwback day in the schedule. I believe it's August 6th. It's late in the season, but they'll be rocking those retro Cougars style logos, the green and the white, rather than their new baby blue with the neon green. It's that darker green as the old logo. I love both
The
logos.
pinstripes too. Oh,
Yeah, the pinstripes are nice. I grew up with that Cougars when you do the Aussie Reading Club and such. Now I've come to like the newer age Cougar logo as well. But I mean they're apples and oranges. They're both great to me. I'll eat them both.
Yeah, at least they named their mascot.
Subtle
That's all I
shots
gotta
at a
say.
team in Rosemont. Yeah,
I would never.
Yeah. Speaking of teams in Rosemont, we will be having, I know we mentioned it already, Wayne Messmer joining us at 11 a.m. He will be talking a little bit of Wolves hockey, but there are so many things that go on at the Allstate Arena. So I've got a couple questions in here for him for a couple different events that have been going on. And oh yeah, PWHL comes back to Chicago next week, and that will be at Allstate Arena as well. So we'll be talking a little bit of that. You and I were just at the girls' high school state championship.
Yeah, the ladies.
So that was a fun one. That was a New Trier win over Fenwick. Fenwick battled hard, especially a school that was for a long time boys only. To now have a girls hockey program having the success that they're having is huge.
When they're dealing with 4 injuries, I believe the coach mentioned after the game. So a little bit of a shortened bench.
Short bench. I think they had 2 or 3 injuries to start, and then like 4 more injuries throughout playoffs. Because you saw when they handed us out, I don't know if I have them on me, the rosters between the
you
two.
could just see with your eyes when the girls were on, like one bench was completely full and the other one wasn't. Yeah,
if you were
to your
there,
point, yeah.
and you should have been, because that was a great game and a great event. Kendall Coyne Schofield got to drop the puck at center ice. We'll talk to Wayne a little bit about that because he got a chance to have a cool moment with Kendall Coyne off I should say off camera,
air.
but just behind the scenes. And it was a great event that led right into a Wolves versus Grand Rapids game, which was entertaining as well. But yeah, I mean, for New Trier, having 2 teams, a boys and a girls team in the finals, coming up with at least one championship was huge for them. And for Fenwick, just being there, that was big as well. And man, those girls can play. But yeah, like you said, the short bench. But even just looking at the rosters, as soon as they handed us a sheet, our buddy Chris, who does a great job organizing everything at Allstate Arena, mostly for the Wolves, but any hockey event, he gave us the sheets. And I'm looking at these 2 rosters, and I'm like, why is this like a whole paragraph? And this one's just a quick, like 10 players. Like, what is going on here? So
No, it definitely was. And it was cool that, New Trier, hats off to the coach too. He mentioned post game that just getting all the girls involved, which I thought was, you get to see both goaltenders play. And it was just, it was a dominating win. They came out early. They scored like in the first 2 minutes, New Trier did. And what was her name? The one young lady had a hat trick.
Megan, I don't remember her last name. I'd have to double check that.
Rivoli?
I think it was for New Trier, right?
Yeah. No, it's for Fenwick because they lost 5-3.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They do. I remember writing about her this week in an article I put out too. And look at me, I can't remember her name. But yeah, the young lady had a hat trick. She scored shorthanded there right at the end of the game. Like
hat trick to finish off. To finish off the hat trick.
It was like 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. They were down 5-2. She scores shorthanded, and maybe that's when you kind of started to think that maybe the comeback would happen and we'd get maybe just some magic in the building. But unfortunately, Fenwick couldn't find that magic.
Was that Livy Boveri?
Yes, Boveri.
Yeah.
Shout out to her. She was the young lady who had a hat trick.
Yeah.
For Fenwick. But yeah, no, it was really cool that the Allstate took over. I think they did a great job with the operation and just the game itself.
Yeah.
The fans were a little rowdy for the boys.
Yeah.
Why they put the 2 student sections together, we'll never know.
That was one of the craziest experiences. I've been to a couple zoos. Lincoln Park Zoo.
Yeah.
I've been to Brookfield Zoo.
Okay.
I've been to the Cosley Zoo. There's one down in Aurora as well.
Are you comparing this
I've never been in that rowdy of an environment. I mean, those boys in the fan section, there were some girls in there too, but for the boys' state championships, that was for all intents and purposes
all you could
a
ask
zoo.
for. That was all you could ask for as a player.
Yeah.
But no, the only other bad thing I would say about from an operations standpoint is like the walk the players have to make to go upstairs.
That is tough.
That's got to be tough.
We got caught in the crossfire of it when we were trying to go down to the tunnel. Yeah, that was interesting. But for the most part, the players enjoyed it. They spoke mostly in the men's press conferences, but then in the girls as well. The boys talked about how, it's been at the United Center before. The girls did mention it a little bit, but they were mostly just gracious to be playing at the Allstate Arena. You have that really cool hype up for the Wolves that they used for both the boys and the girls. It was just another incredible environment other than having it at the United Center that I think both sides really got to enjoy as well.
Yeah,
so.
And we'd be far missed, if you will, to not mention Megan Gallagher. She was the most outstanding player for New Trier.
Yeah.
And Lily Vanslow, they were both the young women that spoke after the game in the press conference, but Lily added 2 goals herself in the game. So pretty good games for both those young ladies. They're seniors, so they will be taking their talents wherever they head off to next from the high school ranks. So, but no, great atmosphere. Shout out to Allstate. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And congratulations to New Trier. Back to back, by the way. So they're going to be...
That's huge.
They might become the next women's hockey powerhouse that we read about. Maybe like the next Olympic team will be full of New Trier gals. Could you imagine?
That could be the
you never know.
The case.
So
that'd be big for them as well. We'll get back to some hockey, and we'll talk a little bit more about Allstate when we have the wonderful Wayne Messmer joining us. But beforehand, I want to get more into...
Do you know what happens this week?
What?
MLB starts this week. It starts on Wednesday. The games mean something now.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, that
so
is
White
true.
Sox open Thursday. They open in Milwaukee.
Yes, that is a 1:10 game. We're still waiting to see if we will be there on behalf of WRMN, but we will be covering the games regardless here on the airwaves. So just like last year, 2025, you can get all of your White Sox baseball if you tune in on AM 1410 WRMN. It is the exact same broadcast as the ESPN 1000 side of things due to our partnership, but we get it a little bit earlier than ESPN 1000, a couple seconds earlier, so you're going to get your information timely like that. And then sometimes we will have some coverage here from our own sports department beforehand and after the game as well. So make sure to tune in for all of our takes. We'll still be talking about it here on the Saturday shows, though, too.
Do you think it's weird that the season starts on Netflix?
I didn't see that.
The season starts Wednesday night. It's Yankees at the Giants.
Okay.
And Netflix is having that game at 7:05.
Netflix is trying to compete in that market of streaming with more...
Yeah, because they did the Christmas NFL stuff.
Yeah, they did. They've done a couple of fights now, I believe, too.
Yeah.
Some. I don't know if it was UFC or if it was just straight up boxing.
Do you think Dave Chappelle opened that whole door for them? Because remember, he did that live show during COVID, did he not?
He did.
Maybe that's where it all started for Netflix. That'd be an interesting
seeds of an idea, I think, right there. But I think more so they were just looking to get into that live sports realm, especially when competitors like Hulu and ESPN Plus were coming out. So I think they started to say, hey, we have to jump in on this as well. But the games that, they don't matter, but have been pretty good for the White Sox lately.
Shane Smith is slated to start, by the way, Thursday for the White Sox. So we do not have a starter announced yet for the Brewers.
Nothing that I've seen, but knowing this Brewers team, they're going to be starting somebody tough on that mound.
Oh, it does. It does have somebody listed. It has undecided. That's who's pitching.
I love undecided. What's his first name?
He's
TBD?
got a great curveball. Yeah, nice.
TBD, undecided. Yeah. Saturday, the White Sox got a 7-2 victory over the the Dodgers. Wrong, Los Angeles. And then they went on the road and lost 10-4 to Kansas City. They lost 3-2 on Monday to Texas. Then they came back to the Camelback Ranch and got a 6-4 win and a 4-2 win on Tuesday and Thursday against the Athletics and Arizona, followed by a loss to San Diego, 13-6, and a loss to Los Angeles, this time the Angels, 4-3 as of last night. They've got 3 more, I was about to say preseason Cactus League spring training games. One against your Cincinnati Reds at 8:05 p.m. tonight. And then 2:05 p.m. on MLB TV tomorrow back home at the Camelback Ranch against Seattle on Sunday. And then Monday, they conclude the spring training season with a 1:05 start time against the Athletics. That'll wrap up Cactus League ball for the White Sox, who are currently 15-13-1, doing all right in Cactus ball. But, I mean, it is not only meaningless games to an extent, just to kind of get everybody warm, just to kind of test arms out, see where everybody's at, but also we've had a World Baseball Classic. So a lot of teams had guys missing, the White Sox specifically. Sir Anthony Dominguez was pitching for the Dominican Republic, who he played against the USA. I was a little bit torn on who I was supposed to root for in that one. Kyle Teal and Sam Antonacci were playing for Team Italy. And then Munetaka Murakami was also playing for Japan. Curtis Mead was playing for Australia, but they got knocked out early, so he was able to rejoin the White Sox earlier than most of those other gentlemen. But for the most part, those were your big names that were away from the White Sox for quite a bit of time, even during this preseason. But I think they're ready to go for regular season, knowing that they got the WBC under their belt.
Yeah, and it's a good way to bring that momentum into, I think, the actual regular season. When you saw the success Antonacci and some others were having in the WBC, I think it's just a good way to hopefully kickstart their offense, because like I said, we always bring up the pitching is going to be the make or break, but if they can bring the hot bats, that's never a bad thing.
No doubt. Speaking of hot bats, the Cubs need to get some hot bats going. They've lost 3 in a row in Cactus League, but they did have 2 wins on the week. If you go back to last Saturday, a 4-3 loss to Colorado, a 14-8 loss at home against the Los Angeles Dodgers, then a 5-2 win, an 8-6 win over Cleveland and Los Angeles Angels, respectively, on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, a 16-8 loss to Arizona, an 8-6 loss to the Cincinnati Reds back at home in Mesa, and then on the road again last night. It was a split squad yesterday for those Cubs. So they got the loss, or excuse me, they took the loss at home in Mesa against Cincinnati, took the loss on the road 6-2 against the Athletics. So split squad, 2 losses, doesn't look good, but they could correct things with 4 more spring training games, unlike the White Sox, who only have 3. It'll be against Seattle today at 8:10 on MLB TV. It looks like the Seattle Mariners have Colin Ray to face today. So Colin Ray starting on the bump for your Chicago Cubs. Milwaukee tomorrow at 2:05 p.m. Monday, 2:05 against the Yankees. And then one more game against the Yankees Tuesday at 2:05 once again. That will wrap up Cactus League for the 11-16 Chicago Cubs before they come back. And I believe they start the season at home. Yes, that'll be Thursday against Washington at 1:20. Saturday against Washington at 1:20. So even though we've got Thursday starts this week, and you mentioned a Wednesday start to kick off the season as well, for our Chicago teams, it'll be Thursday, and then things don't resume until Saturday. I believe that's the case for the White Sox as well.
Yep.
So, Washington to start for the Cubs.
Didn't
All
want to
120
compete with
starts.
college basketball.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be Boyd on the mound for the Cubs versus Cavalli, excuse me. And for the White Sox, for opening day, it looks like, as you mentioned, it'll be Shane Smith. Like you said, no starter for Milwaukee, but a 1:10 game on Thursday, followed by a 6:10 game on Saturday, and a 1:10 game on Sunday. The White Sox then go to Miami and don't come back home until Thursday, April 2nd, so that following Thursday. So it'll be a little bit of time before White Sox baseball hits Rate Field, but we will still be having all that coverage for you right here on AM 1410.
That's going to stink for all the guys playing ball in Arizona right now, because you know what's going on in Arizona. They're having, like, record heat waves.
I did see that.
Yeah, like it was March 18th, so what is that? Earlier this week, it hit 105 on the temperature, which is a new U.S. record for a March temperature, by the way.
Brutal.
So, and then it hit 110 degrees that same day, just at a different location near Martinez Lake. But yeah, can you imagine playing in 100-degree weather and then coming to play Chicago and it's like, 45 and windy? Ugh. Yeah, that's going to be gross.
I'd hate that. Imagine what that's got to do for the arms and for the muscles. Oh my gosh, that's not a good.
Just something to think about too. Maybe hopefully they get off to a good start. So we'll see.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Real quick, before we get to our lovely guest, Mr. Messmer, we have some other hockey news that we can talk about that also happened on Sunday. It was the gold medal game in the men's Paralympics. The USA sled hockey team takes the 6-2 win over Canada to complete the sweep of Canada in men's Olympics, women's Olympics, and men's Paralympic sled hockey. And boy, oh boy, was that exciting. The semifinal round was last Friday. It was a 6-1 win against Czechia. And then it was that Sunday morning game against Canada. And you had to know going in with how dominant this USA team has been with Declan Farmer and Brody Roybal. Like, they were going to get the job done. And sure enough, they did just that. There are 7 major international medals to be won in ice hockey. That's the men's Olympics, women's Olympics, men's Paralympics. There is no women's Paralympics just yet. Not enough countries play, but there is a U.S. women's Paralympic side. So then there's a men's world championship, a women's world championship, men's para hockey world championships, and women's para ice hockey world championships. No country has ever held all 7 medals, gold medals, at the same time until now. The USA has done it. That would be the men's Olympics, a USA win in overtime, 2-1 over Canada. That was on February 22nd. We covered that one. The women's win that was previous that previous Thursday on the 19th, a 2-1 win over Canada in overtime. Men's Paralympics, a 6-2 win on 3/15 over Canada. And then dating back to last calendar year, but these tournaments haven't happened in 2026 yet. So that would be the Men's World Championship, Women's World Championship, Men's Para Ice Hockey World Championships, and Women's Para Ice Hockey World Championships.
Wow.
The women's was a 7-1 win over Canada back on August 31st. The women went 4-0, a complete sweep of the tournament, outscoring their opponents 34-1. Similar to what the men's sled hockey team did here in these Paralympics to secure the first ever world title for women's para ice hockey. I'm going to do a little bit more research after we're done talking away to make sure. I think most of these were against Canada.
There's 5 straight gold medals for them, by the way, for the men's sled hockey team.
For the men's side of things, yeah. So that is huge. Josh Pauls has won all 5 of those. Declan Farmer and Brody Roybal were there for 4 of those. So your Illinois native, Brody Roybal, getting the job done. No country had ever even achieved 4 straight gold medals in Paralympic ice hockey history. Now the USA has 5. As we mentioned, we'll be talking more hockey here, but also just Chicagoland sports with the one, the only, the great Wayne Messmer coming in here. He's the public address announcer for several teams, but most importantly, the anthem singer for your Chicago Wolves. We'll have him live right here on AM 1410 WRMN's On the Rise coming up just in a second, so stay tuned. It's Dalton Cooper on the board, myself, Mike Napolitano, AM 1410 WRMN.
Are you dreaming of a getaway? Want to leave the stress of daily life behind? Whether it's a relaxing cruise or an adventurous land escape, planning the perfect vacation doesn't have to be a hassle. At Cruises International, they specialize in vacation destinations, land and sea, making your dreams come true. Located at 1721 Moon Lake Boulevard in Hoffman Estates, Cruises International isn't just about booking travel. They're your personal concierge, trusted travel advisor, and advocate. Your preferences are unique, and they'll take the time to understand exactly what you're looking for. From personalized service to their global network of specialists, they ensure that your vacation is tailor-made just for you. It's time to plan the vacation of a lifetime. Call 800-255-7447. That's 800-255-7447 today and speak to a cruise and vacation expert. Cruises International. It's time to set sail to your dream destination.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410. Elgin time, 11 o'clock.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump says he'd like other nations to help the U.S. open up the Strait of Hormuz.
It's a simple military maneuver. It's relatively safe, but you need a lot of help in the sense of you need ships, you need volume. And NATO could help us, but they so far haven't had the courage to do so. And others could help us. But, we don't use it. At a certain point, it'll open itself.
The president also says the U.S. is considering winding down the war in Iran, but he does want other countries to help with the Strait of Hormuz since it carries about 20% of the world's oil. It's a congressional appeal for sanctions on AI. Correspondent Ron Taylor explains.
The White House is laying out a new framework that it wants Congress to use to shape national rules for artificial intelligence without curbing growth in the sector. It wants Congress to preempt state laws it sees as too burdensome. The focus is on protecting children, preventing electricity costs from surging, respecting intellectual property rights, preventing censorship, and educating Americans on using the technology. Ron Taylor reporting.
Amid a changing media landscape, Donna Warder reports on the death of a broadcast institution.
After nearly 100 years, CBS News says it's shutting down its radio news service as part of a round of layoffs. Effective May 22nd, CBS News Radio went on the air September 1927, giving a young William S. Paley a start in the business. As part of the service, Edward R. Murrow broadcast reports from London during World War II. Currently, CBS News provides material to about 700 stations across the country. CBS News editor-in-chief Barry Weiss and President Tom Sabrowski say in a memo to staff that shutting down CBS Radio wasn't an easy decision, but a necessary one. I'm Donna Warder.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Former Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin says the shooting at Old Dominion University this month was completely preventable.
I firmly believe that someone who is a naturalized citizen who pledges allegiance to ISIS and has to go to jail because of it should have their citizenship revoked, and they should be deported immediately. That guy should have never been in America. That guy should have been deported a long time ago.
And the shooter had a documented history of supporting the ISIS terrorist group. Democrats are questioning the Director of National Intelligence for her presence during the seizure of Georgia ballots by the FBI.
During a recent Senate Intelligence Committee hearing, Senator Mark Warner of Virginia pressed DNI Tulsi Gabbard on why she was present during the FBI seizure of ballots in Fulton County, Georgia. Gabbard defended her oversight role under statutory election security responsibilities while denying she engaged in any law enforcement action.
That is Bernie Bennett reporting. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. What is the number one source of renewable energy in America? Correspondent Ken Lorman reports it's neither solar nor wind power.
It's hydropower, which is the generation of electricity using the energy from flowing or falling water. It provides a consistent and clean supply of electricity. Hydropower contributes about 37% of the total renewable electricity generated in the U.S., but the Committee to Unleash Prosperity says environmentalists often oppose this cheap, reliable, and renewable energy source because they hate dams. Ken Lorman reporting.
President Trump has issued an executive order barring college football playoff and other postseason games from airing during the annual Army-Navy matchup in December. He directed the Commerce Secretary and the FCC Chairman to coordinate the timing with the Playoff Committee, the NCAA, and media rights partners. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At U.S. Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With U.S.
US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're tuned into On the Rise with Dalton Cooper and myself, Mike Napolitano. We have another exclusive River Media Network sports interview for you. We are pleased to be joined by one of the greatest anthem singers in the Chicagoland area. He is a legend that needs no introduction, but if you didn't know, he was the anthem singer for the Chicago Blackhawks from 1980 to 1994. He's also been the public address announcer or the anthem singer for the Chicago Cubs for over 4 decades, but these days you will hear him belting out the Star-Spangled Banner at the Allstate Arena ahead of Chicago Wolves games or any other sporting event taking place there. He is also a part owner and founding partner of those said Chicago Wolves. Please welcome to On the Rise, Mr. Wayne Messmer.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good to see you. How are you?
You know, excellent. It's a nice day. It's going to be kind of spring-like, and so what the heck, you know.
Absolutely, especially with the crazy weather we've been having here in the Chicagoland area, tornadoes, hail, snow, right back into 60 to 70 degree weather. It's been huge, and it's always a great time to head on down to the Allstate Arena. There's always a lot going on, but especially within these last few months here we talked about the A-High Championships being moved to Rosemont. And then, of course, the PWHL coming to Chicago. They came back in December and will be back this next Wednesday, March 25th at 7 p.m., where the New York Sirens will face off against the Seattle Torrent. What has the atmosphere been like from your perspective for these PWHL takeovers here in Chicago, and what are you expecting for this coming Wednesday?
Well, I love the quality of play. Hang on, let me plug in there.
No worries. Yeah, we saw a lot of speed from, of course, that first game between the Minnesota Frost and the Ottawa Charge. You had Kendall Coyne-Schofield out there, and she's one of the fastest players in the league, but you also had a lot of talent on display. The Charge took it to overtime and got the victory as well.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the performance of these ladies. And, you know, I've been a big fan of Title IX and women's sports for a long time. 2 daughters, 3 granddaughters, you know, and my darling wife, Kathleen, has said many times, man, I wish I had these opportunities when I was a kid and going through high school and stuff. So anytime that I can support women's sports, I'm all over it. I love the hockey, certainly love the volleyball is one of my favorites. And also women's basketball, particularly at the high school and college level.
Yeah, those are always exciting. We'll get the NCAA women's side of things going here in March Madness not too soon. But do you think there's a potential for a PWHL team to call Chicago home in the future? And then, of course, the biggest question is where would they play and how soon would that league expand here? Do you think that there's possibility for maybe even at Allstate?
Well, I think there probably is an opportunity, but it would require a few things. I know the league has already spoken to the folks in Rosemont and to us with the Wolves. And I think that what they're looking for is not necessarily their own facility by any means, not in their own arena, but they would need some space. They would need a separate workout and separate locker room and all of this. And so there's an expense involved in trying to make that happen. But I think everyone is very interested and very curious to what's going to happen on the 25th. because I'd like to see a nice crowd out there to really see the quality of play that they do. I'd love to have a women's team here in Chicago.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people are talking about them possibly calling the Now Arena, formerly the Sears Center, home to share with the Windy City Bulls. But this past PWHL takeover was on a Sunday. Of course, you had Kendall Coyne Schofield and Taylor Heisey in the building. This time, you were hoping to have Hillary Knight. Unfortunately, she's injured. She scored that game tying goal in the gold medal game with a torn MCL. So she's going to be out for a little bit. But you're still going to have a great showing, but it'll be during a weekday. So you're going to get a little bit of a different perspective. But like you said, hopefully a great crowd. And I wanted to start with the women's game because you told me at the A-High Girls High School State Championship game a really cool story that you got to meet with Kendall Coyne Schofield and hold her shiny new Milan gold medal. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
That was very cool. I was surprised at the weight of the medal, and then I kiddingly said, "Oh, did you hear about the mom that was so proud that her son or daughter won a gold medal? She was so proud she had it bronzed, and is a bad idea." But she took it off and handed it to me, and the thickness and the weight, it was then it made you really kind of amplify or underscore the importance of that piece of metal. And I just looked at it and I thought, wow, that's a great accomplishment. So I took the ribbon and I said, "Do you mind if I put this back on you?" And I put it over her like I was awarding it to her. And that was just cool.
Yeah.
And what a sweet girl she is.
No, I
It's
thought it was great
cool to
that
even
she
hear.
yeah, I thought it was great that she came and kind of supported the women's game, and just for her to show up and have that presence, I thought was really cool.
I'm still kicking
Yeah.
myself that I didn't stop her for an interview because we spoke to her right after PWHL back in December, but now she's got that shiny new hardware around her neck that would have made for a great time. But yeah, just hearing the interaction that you got to have with her, that made it all worth it. I was like, wow, that's unreal. That's also that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was really fun. And what they have gone through in terms of development with the women's national team is really exemplary. It's a wonderful story, and I love it because they're not. Well, I don't know. I don't want to downgrade the men, but I used to love uh, Olympics. I think when it was really amateur.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I mean, we've done it with the NBA, the NHL players, and what else? But I think when 1980,
Yeah, right.
that's a bunch of college kids.
Yeah. And look at what
I
they
like your
what they've
sweater,
been.
by the way.
Thank you, thank you. I figured I'd rep the team today because we were talking to you, and of course there's games coming up. But another unique event that happened at the Allstate Arena over a year ago now that I attended was the Shoresy Classic. For anybody that maybe
Right.
has tuned into the show before, we had Scott Darling on. He was in this most recent uh, season of Shoresy. It was made possible by that after party in that same night. But earlier, it was the cast of the TV show Shoresy versus the Blackhawks alumni. And because of that, you had a lot of Blackhawks fans in attendance who cheered during the anthem as if they were at the United Center or the old Chicago Stadium. What was that
Right.
like? And was that really the only time it had happened before at Allstate Arena where they cheered during the anthem?
No, it's happened periodically, but it's kind of unique to the stadium, and it goes back to many years. I mean, 1985 is really where it first began, and really caught on. And obviously, at the '91 NHL All Star Game, when it was just craziness, that's where the nation got to see it. And I also had the invitation from the Blackhawks organization to come out and kind of relive that roar, the old barn feeling. And they built a temporary organ loft looking thing and brought back Frank Pellico, the organist, one of whom I worked with, and had also Harvey Wittenberg, the longtime PA announcer from the stadium of the Blackhawks. And they didn't even announce that it was going to happen. I mean, intentionally. And it wasn't in the game notes, nothing. But then all of a sudden, Harvey, to honor America, please join organist Frank Pellico and soloist Wayne Messmer. And the crowd goes, "What?" You know?
Yeah.
And we were up in the set up in the 300 level because back in the stadium, uh, it was an organ loft with a massive Barton theater organ. So that was a cool thing, and that was full throated screaming. That was pretty wild.
You answered my next question. You read my mind because that was such an incredible moment. But yeah, it really wasn't advertised beforehand. It was a delightful surprise. But I wish I would have known. Otherwise, we would have been back there. So I don't know. Maybe we can make it happen again. But that's not the only time you've worked with the Blackhawks related organizations this year. We got to see you sing the national anthem at the BMO Center in Rockford ahead of the AHL All Star Skills Competition this year.
Right.
Rockford fans can get pretty passionate about that dynamic of you being both the longtime Blackhawks singer, but then now the Wolves singer. Even the Wolves All-Stars got booed because there's that rivalry there. But did it give off a bit of a different energy in the building? Was that your first time being up in Rockford?
No, it was the first time at an AHL event. I'd been up there years and years ago. Um, I don't know if you were ever hip to indoor football, arena
Oh,
football,
yes. Yeah.
but the very first exhibition game was played at the then called the Rockford Metro Center. And this was years and years ago. In fact, the person who had developed the concept uh, worked, well, he hired me to do the voice work for the a presentation video of the concept of arena football. So, I mean, that's how early on I was involved with that. So that was my last time up at the Metro Center, which is no longer called Metro Center. But that's a nice facility now. They really put a lot of money in that place, and it looks great. Their organization was top notch. The presentation was really great. And, when they first called me on it, I said, well, I don't want to walk out there and get booed, because it being I said, they're going to throw something at me, the Wolves guy. And they said, no, 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 they won't. No. So, but I mean, it's the Blackhawks history that I guess gave me the pass. But it was fun. It was a nice event, and I was very honored to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you were a little worried too when you saw that there were no boards on the sides. I thought that was a nice little touch
yeah,
they
no
did with the
glass for
All-Star.
the
Yeah,
All-Star,
they took some of the glass away. So I'm sure
Yeah.
those fears came to life a little bit there. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I thought they'd put up the chicken wire or something.
By the way, was that for the Rock River Raptors? Was that the indoor football league that you were singing the national anthem for up there?
I don't know what they. No,
okay.
there was no team.
Maybe the Metros?
I mean, there were no teams at all at that point.
Okay.
It turned out to be the Chicago.
Well, we had the Rush for a little bit, right?
It was even before the Rush.
Oh wow!
I guess I see the Rockford Metros as well. But I was just curious. I didn't even know indoor football was even in Rockford. So you brought the knowledge to me. Now I'm knee deep in Google searching. So I was just curious.
Yeah.
It's trying to make a comeback, but I don't know. There was rumors that the Rush would be coming back, and then I don't know if it kind of fell through. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. The Bruisers, that was the initial team.
Bruisers. Okay, I like that.
Chicago Bruisers. I like that. But then we went down to Iowa City or Des Moines. I guess it was Des Moines. We did an exhibition down there as well. And I did the announcing of the thing, the stadium announcing, because I was the only guy who knew the rules. But I enjoyed that. That's been fun. I mean, I've had an opportunity to do every sport, and it's still hockey and baseball are running neck and neck as my faves.
Oh, absolutely. Do you find it hard being a part of the organization as obviously the senior executive vice president and then also the anthem singer? Do you ever have to try kind of balance maybe I don't want to say the businessman or the businessman versus the fan side of you or just kind of that investment in the team? Just I've always been curious of that kind of dynamic.
No.
Okay.
I figure why would I hire somebody else to sing the anthem?
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
and my thing really, my responsibilities are game day. I love it. I'm out there and I'm like a politician, you know, hugging babe, kissing babies and hugging fans and taking photos, and you know, it's just it's a pure delight, and to walk in there every time into the Allstate Arena and look around and realize my fingerprints are on virtually everything involved with the team. It's it's very rewarding, and it's I feel like I'm being embraced when I walk in. So I really am very proud of the 33 years that we've had in existence and the 5 championships. It's been great.
You really are a man of the people. I even remember meeting you as a young kid, just walking around the Allstate, going to Wolves games, and we always talk about there's not only a network of broadcasters throughout the Chicagoland area, but I mean, there's a network of great anthem singers. That next evening in Rockford, we were spoiled once again with Jim Cornelison singing ahead of the All-Star game itself. Do you get to speak or collaborate with the Jim Cornelisons of the Blackhawks or even the John Vincents of the Cubs and kind of build that camaraderie amongst everything that you guys do?
We don't have like a secret club or a handshake or anything, but I mean, we all know who the other guy is or other guys are. And I think there's room for everybody. And I think the city is fortunate to have people who sing the song and sing it well.
Yeah, we are definitely spoiled here.
Right. 100%.
I haven't really seen too much from other cities, but what I've seen, I mean, there's great anthem singers out there, but to have the plethora that we have here in Chicago is great. I mentioned briefly your time as the PA announcer for the Chicago Cubs as well. Now there's also legends like Gene Honda, Jim Leo, or even Jeremiah Paprocki. Did you? Especially for Jeremiah, did you kind of like usher them in to kind of take over that role for you and kind of, show them the ropes in a sense?
Well, the so-called book that they use as a PA, you know, a format is something that I did a long time ago. I was thrust into a PA job with the White Sox in 1982, and did 82, 83, and 84, which included the 83 All-Star game. And when they won the division by 20 games, it was a magnificent season for the White Sox. And growing up on the South Side, that was kind of a dream come true. I was already singing for the Blackhawks and Chicago Sting soccer, which is where I
Yes.
got my very beginning. But you know, okay, you're the PA announcer, and I literally sat down at the microphone and had no clue and no script.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I knew, you know, now you could always say, you know, now batting number 26, and you can always do that. Um, but then I was handed a kind of a script for the commercials and announcements and stuff like that. But actually, you know, learning the pace and the welcoming introductions and all this other stuff, I finally sat down and said, I gotta, you know, I gotta script this and make it so that it's you know, uniform from game to game, and I feel comfortable about it. So I did that and built what I called my PA book. And then after 3 years with the White Sox, and then moving to the North Side to work with the Cubs, which I now begin this year my 43rd year with the Cubs, and brought, you know, had the book with and just adapted it, and it's still fairly well followed even by Jeremiah, who I like a lot, and Gene Honda picked up after me when I left the White Sox.
Both legends right there.
Literally.
Gene's amazing. I don't know if I told the story on air, but I know you were at the first of the Chicago street races that NASCAR put on. The second one, Gene Honda was also PA announcing, and he's supposed to announce Derek Rose, and he sees me out of the corner of his eye, and I'd been doing a bunch of press games at the White Sox, and he takes a sip of his water, sees me, and then holds it up and cheers with me, and I see Derek Rose on the other side of the stage waiting to be announced. I'm like, announce the MVP. Announce. Don't worry about little Mike Napolitano. What are you doing? But no, Gene's a great guy as well.
Yeah, I like Gene. He works hard. He's serious. He's good and enthusiastic, and speaks clearly and articulately.
Yes.
You mentioned the Sting was kind of your first start. I was looking through some of your work history here. And I was just amazed, like the path that you went through. Are you still big into soccer? Do you follow the professional clubs here? Obviously, you're a very busy man. I just didn't know how in depth with the soccer you follow between the Fire, and then we have the Red Stars here as well in town. Just was curious on your background on that.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of soccer. If for no other reason than that's the sport that really gave me my start. But I love the Fire. I love their future. I can't wait to see this new stadium. I think the Red Stars or Stars. I think they drop the red on that.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
But they're terrific, and um, we have and the ownership is great too. We have we have some Cub influence into the ownership of the Stars with Laura Ricketts, who's just a marvelous person. So I think I'm going to do I'll do a Stars game. I was invited to do um, a Fire game this year, and it wasn't available on that particular day, and I offered another date, and that was not available for them. So maybe I'll have to wait till next year.
Well, maybe we will see you there. We have press for both teams, so we'll be covering here from AM 1410 WRMN. A lot of great things happening, like you mentioned, with the Fire, but also the Stars moving to Northwestern as well. I'm excited to see the future of Chicago soccer. But I want to go into the past just a little bit. In April of 1994, there was an incident in which you were shot in the throat. I'm sure it was a very nerve-wracking experience, but was there any thought of possibly not being able to be an anthem singer ever again? And have you kind of noticed a change in your performance of the anthem since then?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
How's that for an answer? Well, I'll tell you, I went through a really grueling uphill battle after that. And there's a lot that happens when what you do for a living is suddenly possibly threatened or stolen from you. I wrote a book called The Voice of Victory, which is available on Amazon, I guess it is. But it tells the complete story, the struggle of not only survival of living through a situation like that, but to be able to speak again, which is really almost unbelievable. But to be able to sing again after that is truly miraculous. So it takes a lot to ruin my day, and when I have an opportunity to sing, I want to do it because I was given a gift. It was completely stolen, and to receive it back at that same level is almost impossible to believe. So, for example, today, we have a Wolves game tonight. We're playing Rockford, and at 7 o'clock. But at 6 o'clock, I'll be about a few miles away, singing the anthem for the Honor Flight Chicago charity benefit game. And fortunately, I've got somebody who's going to drive me, but I can't say no to stuff like that. And Honor Flight is something that's very near to my heart. From April through October, I'm down at Midway Airport once a month and welcoming and leading the boys in song of God Bless America and the national anthem before they get on a plane to go to Washington as part of the Honor Flight. And people say, "Why do you do that? Why do you do that?" Well, if you ask, it means you don't know what it's about. We're honoring probably 110 to 120 veterans who are really given the opportunity to have a day of tremendous respect. And it's at the generation now where it's a lot of the guys who spent time in Vietnam who didn't exactly come home to a warm welcome. So that's tonight. A couple anthems and feeling good about it. Then we got a game tomorrow too. So.
It is a packed weekend, and we are looking forward to it. And we'll be talking to you soon, and fans can catch you singing the anthem at the Allstate Arena. Wayne, thank you so much for jumping on with us, and we'll be covering the Wolves and seeing you soon. You got a lot going on tonight, too.
It'll be fun. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you again. WRMN.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to downtown Elgin, where businesses, community, and creativity come together. The Downtown Neighborhood Association provides valuable, complimentary services to all downtown businesses, organizations, property owners, and residents, helping you gain exposure and thrive. Whether you're already part of the district or exploring a new downtown location, DNA is here to help your vision grow. Join us in creating a vibrant, connected, and successful downtown Elgin. Call now 847-488-1456, or you can email info@downtownelgin.com. Ask for Jennifer Facala. Downtown Neighborhood Association, where the heart of business beats strong.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
We are AFGE, the American Federation of Government Employees. We represent 700,000 federal and D.C. government workers who are the vital threads of the fabric of American life. We support our nation's military. We take care of our nation's veterans. We protect our nation's borders. We respond to our nation's crises and natural disasters. We provide services to our nation's seniors. The American Federation of Government Employees. We work for America.
A recent Gallup poll indicated that 38% of Americans are putting off health care because of financial concerns, the highest ever recorded. I'm Dr. Bob Martin, here to serve you every Sunday afternoon from 1 to 4. Millions of Americans are seeking health advice that will not cost an arm and a leg, so I offer health tips and advice absolutely free. Listen to my show, Sunday afternoons from 1 to 4 right here on WRMN, AM 1410 and 96.7 FM, the voice of the Valley.
All the other planter box treatments, they're playing catch-up. BioBoost doesn't just replace talc and graphite. It uses microbes to fuel early vigor and drive season-long performance, helping corn and soybeans deliver at least a 3 times return on investment. That's a yield advantage of 7.41 bushel per acre on corn and a 3.92 yield advantage on soybeans. Get BioBoost today. Visit bwfusion.com/trustthedust to learn more.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise, Dalton Cooper and myself as a part of our River Media Network Sports Saturdays. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you one more time to Wayne Messmer for jumping on. You can catch him at Wolves games singing the anthem. You can catch him, he was saying he was going ahead of the Wolves game to another event for the veterans as well.
The honor flight's really cool too. He was talking about that. That's actually a really cool tradition they do.
Yeah, that is huge. And then, I mean, every event that they have at the Allstate Arena, they will have him singing the anthem and then also walking around, like he said, to meet the people. So just truly a gentleman for the people. I do have that stat. We were talking a little bit about Kendall Coyne Schofield and how the U.S. now holds all 7 major international medals. That would be the men's Olympics, women's Olympics, men's para Olympics, so the sled hockey for the men's world championships, women's world championships, men's para ice hockey world championship, and women's para ice hockey world championship. So every single one of these wins has been over Canada in the gold medal match, except for the men's world championships, which was a 1-0 victory versus Switzerland in OT.
Tage Thompson. That was the golden goal, Tage Thompson.
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so men's Olympics 2-1 against Canada in OT. Women's Olympics 2-1 against Canada in OT. Men's Paralympics 6-2 against Canada last Sunday. Men's World Championships 1-0 in OT against Switzerland, the Tage Thompson goal. Women's OT World Championships Women's World Championships was a 4-3 win in OT against Canada. Men's para was back in May of last year, a 6-1 win over Canada. And then USA over Canada in the women's para ice hockey championship, 7-1. So, I mean, boy, oh boy, that is just taking it to Canada in their own sport, right? So that is huge.
I love how this has become your personality.
I'm
I'm enjoying.
I love it. I do have a Canada shirt at home, and I haven't worn it. I've been wearing my USA ones instead.
Okay.
But I have to soak it in now because the baseball team let us down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And going into FIFA, I don't have high expectations, except for on the women's side. Women tend to get the job done, but don't count out Canada, because Canada in the FIFA World Cup on the ladies' side of things tends to get the job done, and we know that very well here in Chicago because we have signed I mean the Chicago Stars FC have signed forward Jordan Huitema, excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. She's 24 years old. She played 4 seasons with the Seattle Reign and 2 with Paris Saint-Germain. She's had 10 seasons representing Team Canada. I think that means tournaments, not seasons. She's only 24. I don't think she's been playing since 14, although it's possible in soccer. They do start those international tournaments fairly younger. Midfielder Julia Grosso, who's 25 years old, also a Canadian, and has represented Canada in those 10 sessions or tournaments as well. So those two should be a nice pairing. Unfortunately, they did fall 4-0. They were trounced against Angel City FC at BMO Stadium out in LA. But Caleb Williams was at the game. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. That was pretty cool. They did, the Stars did win 2-1 against Angel City to close out last season. That was their final game at SeatGeek Stadium. Jamise Joseph had the goal in the 49th minute, and Ali Schlegel put the exclamation point on with the win. Otherwise, it would have been a draw with a goal in the 8th added minute after full time. So huge for the Stars to close out their regular season last year. Final game at SeatGeek, Toyota Park for most, with a victory. But yeah, unfortunately, they didn't start the season off hot. However, they will have their home opener tomorrow at 1 p.m. against the Kansas City Current. That'll be on ESPN2 and ESPN Unlimited. You will be at the game in attendance as well. And then Wednesday night, they will have another home game against the Orlando Pride at 7 p.m. That was on Victory Plus, which I thought was just the Dallas Stars and Dallas Mavericks streaming network, but it seems like they are now branching out and doing a lot of different sports throughout the country and a lot of different teams as well. So good to see them on there. But dead last, 16th in the NWSL after giving up 4 last weekend. That's tough.
One game. It's just one game.
It's just one game.
It's just one game.
Just one game.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
On the men's side of things, we have to talk a little bit about stadiums in just a second, but I want to get through the actual happenings on the pitch first. Last Saturday, the Fire were in action. That was a 2-1 loss at home against DC United. Hugo Kuiper's a goal in the 81st minute. That was a penalty shot. And then DC answers with a Mari Petola goal in the 84th minute. And then another penalty shot, this time in the 5th added minute of stoppage time at the very end of the game from DC's Ty Baribo. So Chicago had 66.5% of the possession. They were outshot 4-2, however. They did lead in shot attempts, 15-13, although 3 yellow cards in this game, 1 going to DC, but 3 to the Fire. Philip Zinkernago in the 24th minute, Jackson Hopkins of DC United in the 34th minute, Jack Elliott in the 56th, and Daavadita in the 64th minute. Listen, I mean, it's not red cards, so you're not playing down a man like you were a couple weekends ago. But this time, the added time at the end of the game bites the Fire instead of helping them out. It helped them out a couple weeks back, if you remember that game, that it was the home opener that we were talking about. This time, instead of a draw, that added time gives up a penalty, and the Fire fall. So now they are 1-1-2. They have 4 points, and they're sitting 7th in that league table. And they'll play today against a very tough Philadelphia Union team at 3:30 p.m. We saw the Union take the table last year and knock the Fire out in the playoffs. So let's see if the Fire can get some revenge here today.
Philly is 0-4 right now. They're 15th in the table.
Yes. So yeah, despite
it's a good time to catch them.
Despite being a tough Philadelphia Union team, slow start to the season for them. But like I said last year, they took the table. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't pay attention. I was so bitter that the Fire were knocked out that I didn't check to see who won the MLS Cup last year. I don't believe it was. I believe it was Miami. Was it not? Inter Miami.
Yep.
So, yeah, they didn't go all the way, but they definitely led the table, and they probably still have a lot of that talent there. It just hasn't woken up for the season just yet. So be very worried. What has woken up is the 78. The Fire broke ground. We talked a little bit about this, both with Jim Alexander, but also that next week when we were kind of divulging a little bit of the details, jokes were being made about certain football teams staying in Chicago and certain football teams quite possibly leaving. And listen, part of my mamma mia is if you are the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, and you're going up there and making that joke that, hey, at least one football team is staying here, don't make that joke. You're part of the problem as to why the Bears are leaving. Listen, on the Bears side of things, is there some ownership that needs to spend their own dollar, like the Joe Mansuetos of the Chicago Fire, who are willing to privately fund the development at the 78. Yes. So blame is on both sides. I've talked about this on the show before. But don't go up there and make that joke if you're I don't know. It irks me because it's like, don't throw stones when you're living quite literally in that same glass house.
So there's something that's been proposed as of yesterday. A new Soldier Field proposal includes dome and entertainment district.
Yes, so it looks
That's
like,
according to Fox 32.
Looks like most teams are going to be out of there. Of course, the Fire are going to be at the 78. The Bears are going to go elsewhere. It's still to be determined whether that's going to be Arlington Heights or Gary, Indiana. But not only did we get the announcement this week about a possible domed entertainment of Soldier Field that would probably mostly just be then a concert venue, we also got some information that the Chicago White Sox and Justin Ishbia are looking at a plot of land right across from the 78. Now, at first, this sounds amazing, right? Especially for us here at AM 1410 WRMN, who cover both the Fire and the Chicago White Sox. In fact, this summer, there will be plenty of times in which I will be at a White Sox game, hopefully, and then at a Chicago Fire game right after that. They're not too far away. You can commute from one to the other. They do a great job of treating their press and media at both the White Sox and the Fire, so I'll be treated like royalty. We'll get a chance to cover to the best of our abilities for you guys, but if they were to be at the 78 and right across the river, the south branch of the Chicago River, can you just build a bridge right across? That would be great. I'll take a boat literally right across. I'll swim. I usually have my laptop on me, but that will not work out too well, but I'll swim. It sounds great. It sounds great. However, there are some things in which White Sox fans, and also just White Sox fans, to know that there is a home in Chicago after 2029 and that Justin Ishbia is looking into that. Great. However, is this for a stadium? Because we know that the Ishbias have their hands in a lot of different cookie jars, and this might just be a developmental project for something outside of sports, outside of White Sox baseball. It would make sense if it was White Sox. However, the plot of land right across there is still an active rail yard. And the issue you have is it is smaller than the 78, and the active part of the rail yard cuts right through the middle of the property. So what do you do with that train track? You got to either move it inwards. You're not going to put it more towards the river for aesthetic purposes if you're going to end up building a stadium. There was also reports that you can't necessarily build in the same direction that you could have on the 78, where you'd have the city skyline in the background. Now, to me, I think you can still build in that direction, and it'd be like Comerica Park, where your entrance to your stadium is just in your outfield rather than the traditional at-home plate or first or third base side, right? Like, because I think
the Guardians are like that too, I think.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that people are making with that argument is they're saying, oh, well, you can't build the stadium that way because the entrance has to be right there off the river if you're going to have river transportation to your games, or even just a main walkway or a main roadway that cuts right along the river to drop people off at the stadium. But who says that has to be home plate right there? I disagree with that. Maybe it's a sunlight thing as well, but then why would it have worked across the river at the 78 and not? I don't know. There's also the whole hitting balls into the river idea that, I think has really started with Oracle Park and the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So if you could hit one out of the park, it'll land in the river.
The Pirates, Allegheny is right there too.
Pirates as well too.
The Reds have Great American Ballpark right there on the Ohio River.
There's my Reds fan coming through over here.
Come on, what are we talking about? Like water? Are we talking about baseball pollution? That's a problem?
No, I don't think so. Considering the mob back in the 18 and 1900s probably allegedly dumped a few bodies in that river, I'd say the baseballs are the least of their worries.
Right.
But there are some other issues with a stadium being there. Like we said, it's smaller of a plot of land than the 78. Plus, when the Fire decided to develop at the 78, one of the first things that they came out and said was there's room for two stadiums. There's not necessarily room for the whole entertainment district now with two stadiums that the White Sox had envisioned in those early markups and drawings of that concept of what could be. But I don't know. Do you still put another stadium at the 78 and have them next to each other, back to back, and have a stadium complex rather than an entertainment district? Do you build across the river and move that train track? Like, what are you going to do with the train track? Is it going to be like Houston, Dyken Park, where like you literally have a train? That's all for show. It's not an actual train. But out in the outfield, when they hit a home run, that train moves back and forth and shoots smoke. Maybe in the White Sox park, you have a real train.
There you go. That's kind of fun. You would think New York would incorporate something like that at this point, but that is going to be
running from first to second, trying to steal, and you have to like hold up because there's a train crossing.
I'm just looking at these proposed pictures for Soldier Field. How they're going to put a dome on it, and they're going to increase the capacity to 72,000 seats. That includes about another 1,800 new seats for luxury suites and 8,700 general seating spots.
And here's a question from me for the people who are doing this.
Edward Peck design, by the way.
Edward Peck. So what are you going to do to make it easier to get in and out of Soldier Field based on parking, based on roadways? You're adding more seats, so you're expecting more people, and getting in and out with the number of people that are already there is tough. So tell me again what you're doing to expand the roadways.
The space would be built on a deck over Lakeshore Drive and nearby rail lines, creating room for restaurants, retails, hotels, apartments, and public gathering areas, according to the firm.
How do I publicly gather if I can't get there? Oh, yes. Ubers and public transportation, right? Because everybody takes those.
Public transportation, yeah.
What about people who still like to drive?
Yeah, I mean, the CTA, we should get them to start doing commercials on this network. We're talking about it an awful lot. You know?
Honestly.
That's what it is.
Honestly.
But no, it'll be interesting to see as we move forward. And like you said, the venue, the pictures from the 78 look sick.
They do.
I am excited to see what that looks like, the whole experience. Just like I've been to the Dolphin Stadium in Miami, and I don't want to say it's similar, but like the idea from like how it looks and just, bringing that kind of to the 2028 age of technology, which is going to be available. It's going to be awesome. That's all I got to say. We also have an update. Michigan is currently leading St. Louis. 42-34 minute. 3:41 left in the first half of the NCAA tournament. We got a whole slew of games today, Michael. I hope you're ready.
We do.
Yeah.
But that includes, we talked with Wayne Messmer about there is a Rockford versus Chicago game at the Allstate Arena tonight. There will be another Rockford game tomorrow night. against the Griffins. It'll be against the Griffins tomorrow.
Yeah, and then the Wolves play at home as well.
The Wolves play at home. Is that Iowa, I believe?
Yes.
I double checked that.
Yeah,
on the schedule.
they've been a little hit and miss lately, Mike. I'm gonna be honest with you. Those Chicago Wolves, they're still second in the Central. Don't get me wrong.
They
But
lost last night.
They've lost 3 out of 4. Their last victory was that Sunday game.
Oh yeah,
where they beat Grand Rapids.
Not last night.
Texas.
Wednesday.
Right.
2 losses
They went
against
back to
Texas.
back
Texas is a tough team. They've had the Wolves number this year. Wolves are sitting higher than them in the standings.
Yeah.
But the Texas Stars have played the Wolves tough. So you go on the road and play them twice, Tuesday and Wednesday. It's not going to look good.
The cushion that the Wolves
did get
had.
the win against the Griffins in that game that we saw with
Yeah.
Sophia last weekend. That was a 1-0 victory.
And the cushion they've had in the Central standings, it was up to 10 points. Now it's down to 6. So
still playoffs in the future.
Still playoffs. Yeah.
Still playoffs.
100% is a playoff team because the gap between them and the playoffs is 14 points. So they should be okay with 12 games to go.
And at least we could say that about one Chicagoland hockey team because it's not going to happen for the Steel. It's not going to happen probably for the Rockford Ice Hogs as they've been. They do get Calvin Fitzgerald back today.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that, so he'll be back in the lineup. But the Blackhawks have been recalling and sending back down a bunch of players, including just recently Dominic Toninato. We talked with Dana Gray about him quite a bit, and Dana Gray was very surprised and very excited about his game. So he got a chance to see some NHL call up. I don't believe did he play last night? I didn't see him on the stat sheet against Colorado, but I could double check the box score here.
They played Grand Rapids last night.
No, the Blackhawks because he got called up to the Blackhawks.
Oh, sorry,
they played the Avalanche, and I mean, if anybody knows the Avalanche, they're like the Grand Rapids Griffins, but of the NHL.
Literally,
they refuse to lose. 45, 13, and 10. They're 22-7-5 on the road.
Yep.
They play their best hockey. Well, actually, they play their best hockey no matter where they're at, but on the road is usually tough. The Blackhawks fall to 13, 16, and 6 at home. They have not looked good in those black jerseys, even though the black jerseys themselves look great. I haven't gotten a chance to see them live and in person this year, and I believe that was the last game that they'll be doing those. But I really hope they bring them back next year.
Do you know the record this year wearing those jerseys?
Is it 1-4?
1-5-1.
1-5-1.
1-5-1. And by the way,
I knew there was only one win
last night. He logged. Looks like he logged about 10 minutes of ice time last night.
Okay, I did. So. Okay, all right, yeah. 10 minutes of ice time. He did take a penalty. He did have a hit. So
yeah,
I mean,
he's making things happen out there.
Yeah,
he blocked a shot.
That's huge. Block shots are huge.
Yeah, he's a team player. This
pucks.
Guy, right?
Gotta eat pucks. Your only goal in this one came from the defensive side of things. Wyatt Kaiser, who had a great game, 3 shots on goal, 21-38 of ice time. So he shined despite the loss. Arvid Soderblom was in net. 49-4 were saves against, but goals against. So only 45 saves.
Look at the shot totals.
Yeah, basically 50 shots on goal. Yeah, you can't fault Soderblom too much in this one. I mean, you got to limit the number of shots that he's seeing. But this comes on the heels of the Blackhawks finally getting a win in regulation against the Minnesota Wild. Do you know the last time the Blackhawks won a game in regulation against the Minnesota Wild?
Oh,
this is a team that the Blackhawks pretty much owned throughout the 2010s. If anybody remembers any playoff series with the Minnesota Wild and the Chicago Blackhawks, the Blackhawks always won it in a sweep or in 5 games.
I'm going to go 2021.
Before that.
Oh, so 2017.
A little after that.
Okay,
right in the middle.
That's 2019.
2019. The Blackhawks have not beat the Wild, the Minnesota Wild, in regulation since 2019.
Is this overall, or is this like on the road, or
overall?
Okay.
Overall,
Wow,
in regulation, they've gotten a couple overtime or shootout wins.
Division.
Yeah,
that means they play what, 5 times a year?
4 times a year at least.
Yeah,
at least. Sometimes you have a 5th game depending on how the. But yeah. The Wild, the Blackhawks saw twice within this last week. Of course, we talked about the first game back on Tuesday, March 17th for the previous captain, Nick Foligno. That was a 4-3 overtime loss at home. Once again, a loss to Minnesota. But then they go back and defeat the Wild in Minnesota at XL's Energy Center 2-1 on Thursday. So it's been a rough week for the Blackhawks. They started out, we left off last Saturday. They were going up against the Golden Knights in Vegas, a 4-0 loss. You can't fault Spencer Knight too much in that one. He was the best player for the Blackhawks, but still let in 4 goals and a goose egg for the Blackhawks side of things. The scoring just hasn't been there. Then the Blackhawks get the loss against Minnesota. Knight played 4 games in a row there. On the heels of that Comesso victory, 3-2 in overtime against Utah. Knight got the win 3-2 against Utah in overtime. And then that rough patch right there. And then you have to go back to Soderblom a little bit. You can't play Spencer Knight until he's dead, basically. Like
well, he's been battling this. He battled the stomach bug there for like 10 days too.
Yeah. And with Comesso coming in a little bit, I like to see that. I like to see the movement between the AHL and NHL. But one thing, despite the losing that has been going on for the Blackhawks, is Connor Bedard's beef with opposing fans. Have you seen this?
Yeah, he's turning into Uyghur. No, not Uyghur. Who's the other defenseman that played for Calgary that would literally stare down people of opposing teams?
Oh, I don't remember.
Do you not remember this?
I remember it, but I don't remember who it was.
It was the Rasmus Anderson.
Rasmus Anderson.
That's who it was,
Yeah.
He kind of, he's stealing that thunder a little bit.
Don't know if your team is 26-31-12 if you should be staring opponents' fans down in the stands, but when you score a nasty goal like Connor Bedard did against Minnesota on the breakaway, I guess you can go ahead and do that. When you did so against Utah in overtime, I guess you could do that. But the profanities that Connor Bedard is using, I mean, he called he said one word, starts with a B against a Utah fan that I can't repeat on the air. And then he said an even worse word, starts with an F, and followed by you. Against the Minnesota fans last night. So
unpleasantries.
Riled up. He even popped the chain. The chain was coming out.
Wow.
I don't think he meant to do that. I think it was just, the way he won the breakaway and had to muscle, and then the gold just comes shining out.
Right.
Thought he was wearing a USA gold medal or something like that, and he forgot he was Canadian for a second there. We still love Connor Bedard.
I was going to say, you and this whole
we
USA
still love
over
Connor
Canada.
Bedard.
The SHL game this year is going to be electric.
Oh, boy, is it ever. It's going to be a rematch from the Schaumburg Hockey League game of last year, Canada and the U.S., and here we are in late March. We'll get that going in April because it'll be happening in June. We had it late last year. It'll be June 27th, whatever that Saturday is. And I'm excited for it. I know my buddy Jack Quigley is as well, but I've got all of my dates planned out all the way through September for Boomers, Cougars, White Sox, Stars, Fire, and now, did you see the WNBA did come to an agreement?
They did.
We will have a season, and it will be starting on time. So the WRMN crew will be covering Chicago Sky basketball.
Easy.
I was still on the soccer brain for a second there.
Easy.
And the United Center will be hosting the WNBA All-Star Game on one of the same days that we'll also be covering Banana Ball at Wrigley. So what a 2026 here for WRMN.
Yeah. Pack your sunscreen.
Absolutely.
That's all I got to say.
Did you have any other Mama Mias other than the coach going off against
I was going to say, the coach thing was like the first thing I woke up to this morning.
Yeah.
We just got a puppy, so I was up early, and I was like going through Twitter, and I was like, what is this monstrosity that I'm watching on my... So I figured we'd talk about that first, so had to get that out of the way.
My Mama Mia was in there against the mayor, but also I'll say this whole next Blackhawks schedule. Tomorrow against Nashville at home at 2, New York at 6 p.m. on the road for that one, and Philadelphia 6 p.m. Thursday, 6 p.m. Friday. And that'll be doing it for us here at AM 14 WRMN on the Rise.
Now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com is the book called DUI Jury Trial, which is the true story of a truck driver in Illinois who was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol. Not only was he facing a revocation of his driver's license, but also a lifetime disqualification of